You are about to hear Message to the People by Marcus Garvey, narrated by Darnel Stone. Preface. The Course of African Philosophy is a unique document. With the exception of his poetical works, it is the closest thing to a book that Marcus Garvey ever wrote. Yet 46 years after his death, it is being published here for the first time. It represents, as it were, the last political will and testament of a man who stands without equal in the history of the worldwide mobilization of African peoples. For Marcus Garvey did not merely organize the most massive black movement in the history of the United States of America. He also organized the largest and most successful movement among African peoples in the Caribbean area. In fact, as a serious pan-Caribbean movement cutting across political and linguistic barriers, Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, has no serious challenger. Garvey's organization has an equally singular record in Africa, where it established itself, oblivious of political and linguistic barriers, in the European colonies of England, France, Belgium, and Portugal, as well as in the independent state of Liberia and the racist state of South Africa. In Central America, too, the UNIA spread with great rapidity from Mexico to Panama. In Canada, it entrenched itself coast to coast, from British Columbia to Nova Scotia, scattered Africa well within Garvey's organizational genius in every far-flung corner, whether Brazil, Australia, or Berry Dock, Wales. Garvey lived from 1887 to 1940. His years of all-encompassing triumph coincide with his sojourn in the United States from 1916 to 1927. His emigration to that country was, however, preceded by many long years of preparation for his life's work, long years of study, travel, and organizational work, culminating in the foundation of the Universal Negro Improvement Association in his Jamaican homeland in 1914. After his expulsion from the United States in 1927, Garvey's organization underwent a long and slow decline, as the chief struggled to hold together his fragmenting colossus from inadequate headquarters in Jamaica and later in England. It was in 1937, 10 years after his deportation from the United States, 2 years after relocating to England, and 3 years before his death that Garvey introduced his course of African philosophy. This was nothing less than a distillation of a lifetime of organizational experience. It contained a mixture of the techniques he himself had utilized to achieve success and an attempt to incorporate the hard lessons he had learned with the benefit of an unfortunate hindsight. Much of the Machiavellian quality of the document comes from this latter consideration. Garvey had experienced in a painful way the treacherous potential enveloped within human nature. He had his life to live over, he seemed to be saying. His would be a less trusting, a more cautious approach to people. The immediate purpose of the course of African philosophy was to train a cadre of UNIA leaders who would carry on the great work of the organization after Garvey's death. Garvey designed the 22 lessons in London and took them to Canada, where from August 24th to 31st, 1937, he conducted a regional conference for North American members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Garvey's initial vehicle for imparting his accumulated experience was the School of African Philosophy, which met immediately after the conference. For most of the month of September 1937, Garvey trained a select group of UNIA organizers from the North American field. They spent 12 or more hours together every day. They listened to Garvey's lectures, ate together, did their homework together. During the course of the month, each student was required to write out each lesson in his or her own handwriting. The course, described by Garvey as a most rigid system of training, covered over 42 subjects. Much of it remained unwritten, for it was in the nature of a confidential in-house affair. Even the 22 written lessons reproduced here were guarded jealousy from indiscriminate circulation. Garvey's overriding concern was to develop within his organizers a fierce Afrocentric view of the world. He accepted as given the fact that the white race had imposed its viewpoint on the world, and he thought that African people would have to adopt similar strategies in their own behalf. The race
Sample complete. Ready to continue?